Welcome to the Imperial Newsstand. I'm Alan Imperial. On today's show, I'm going to go over my reaction about President Trump's desire to go back to work. Before we go on, let's hear what he has to say.
We will vanquish this virus, and a lot of progress has been made. That's why earlier today I sent a letter to America's governors describing how we will be using the data to update existing guidance on social distancing, which will be developed in close coordination with our nation's public health officials and scientists. We have to get back to work. Our people want to work. They want to go back.
Mm,
They have to go back. And we're going to be talking about dates. We're going to be talking with a lot of great professionals. But this is a country that was built on getting it done. But I just want to leave it with you. We have to go back. This is the
mm,
United States of America. They don't want to sit around and
mistakes.
wait, and they'll be practicing. And by the way, a lot of people misinterpret when I say go back. They're going to be practicing as much as you can social distancing and washing your hands and not shaking hands and all of the things that we talk about so much, but they have to go back to work. Our country has to go back. Our country is based on that. And I think it's going to happen pretty quickly.
He wants us to go back. Well, let's hear what's happening right now in New York.
The rate of infection is going up. It is spiking. The apex is higher than we thought, and the apex is sooner than we thought.
Mm,
That is a bad combination of facts. So slow the spread. We'll still keep doing everything we can, but it is clear that we must dramatically increase the hospital capacity to meet that highest apex. And we have to
wow.
do it very quickly. Again, the apex could be here in as little as
2
14 to
to 3
21
weeks.
days. And you're talking about a very significant logistical, operational movement to increase that number of hospital beds and do everything that you.
So, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but what Governor Cuomo wants to increase are beds, staffing, and equipment. In terms of beds, he wants to increase capacity by about 50% to 100% for emergency hospitals, hotels, and dorms. Because not only do we need to increase the hospital capacity, but we also need to make sure that the people working at the hospitals have a safe place to stay so they don't infect their family. Crazy. Then he's asking for any retirees who are capable of working to work. And this is the crazy part. New York got 7,000 ventilators, but they need 30,000. Something that I learned through one of Governor Cuomo's, uh, uh, I guess, pressers, I don't know what you call these, uh, is the fact that anybody who's on a ventilator is considered an ICU patient. So he thinks we're going to need 30,000 because we're going to have 30,000 uh, or thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of ICU patients. And that's crazy. And if things are going to get worse sooner rather than later, I don't know why President Trump is talking about getting back to work. It's as if he's putting um, money and the economy over the actual people of America. In other sad news, the US now leads the world in confirmed coronavirus cases. Pictured is the emergency room line to get into Elmhurst Hospital. Elmhurst Hospital is what is it, like three or four, uh, or five? I guess five. Five subway stops from my apartment, and this is the same hospital that has had unfortunately 13 coronavirus. Yeah, coronavirus deaths in one day. You know what? I'm going to start calling it the CPP virus. So the New York Times is reporting that in the United States there are 81,321 people as of 7:12 p.m. on March 26th, with more than 1,000 deaths. Now, that's reported cases because in the Epoch Times, Chinese authorities underreporting new infections in epicenter of Wuhan leaked documents. So the data that they have says that there were 91 diagnosed patients, but only 4 were reported on March 14th. I cannot read this, but I'm assuming this guy right here is saying the actual reported, and this guy right here is the actual tested. But incredible if this is the case. Now, something to back up this claim is that the Epoch Times also reported how 21 million fewer cell phone users in China may suggest a high CPP virus death toll. The digitalization level is very high in China. People can't survive without a cell phone. Tang Jinyua, I'm so sorry about the last name, a US based Chinese affairs commentator, told the Epoch Times on March 21st. Dealing with the government for pensions and Social Security, buying train tickets, shopping, no matter what people want to do, they are required to use cell phones. Something that they also say is that it's impossible for a person to cancel his cell phone. So if 21 million people don't have a cell phone, there's possibly one way to read into that. Now you might be saying, "Oh, maybe they always lose uh, cell phones and it comes back," but as it turns out, it's the exact opposite. Because I'm not going to read you the numbers here. I'm just going to highlight them if you want to read them yourself. But it is being reported that from no, this is like December to November data, that 21.03 million users uh, lost their cell phone numbers, and 840,000 people lost their landline numbers. In the same time last year, 24 million, 24.37 million more cell phone numbers were created, and 6.641 million more landline numbers were created. So I think the Chinese authorities are actually underreporting the numbers because I don't think that the United States actually leads the case. Here is the coronavirus cases as reported by Worldometers. There's this is from March 27th, 2020 at 1:20 GMT. There's over 500,000 cases, but if we search by country, there are 4,000 less cases in China than there are in the United States, and I don't buy that for a moment. I think the numbers are increasing more than anybody wants to believe. And lastly, I want to talk about Business Insider's picture of workers construct what is believed to be a makeshift morgue behind a hospital during the outbreak of coronavirus, COVID-19, also known as the CPP virus, in Manhattan's borough of New York City on March 25th. Take a look at this. They're making morgues outside because they cannot handle the influx of deaths that they know are going to happen. President Trump wants us to go back to work, but I believe that is the worst possible thing we could be doing right now. I think the isolation that we have, I believe it's about 190 million people are told to stay at home, shelter in place, pause, quarantine themselves, however you want to call it. 190 million people are told to just not interact with anybody. And I think that should happen for a little while longer. These have to be temporary measures. I'm not saying this lasts for 2 years, but I am saying maybe it should last longer than April 12th. Maybe it should last until May 12th. I don't know. It's scary times, and I just want to fight this the only way I know I can, and that's just by not leaving my apartment. Mm. This is Alan Imperial signing out.